Nofumi Wanti, a college student, discovers a fantasy book about the four heroes: the spear, the sword, the bow, and the shield, while browsing the collection. He is then unexpectedly drawn into the book and sent to a different planet along with 3 other people in order to save humanity against the waves, a series of demonic invasions. When Naofumi learns he is the shield hero, he also finds out from the other heroes, who were all called from other Earths, that he is the least powerful of them all. Nobody joins Naofumi when the party member is allocated to Mine. A member of the Spear Heroes party volunteers to. Mine snatches a possession shortly after and accuses him of assaulting her. As a result of everyone ignoring Naofumi's protestations, he is cast out and is only given kindness by Hard, the weaponsmith, who recognizes innocence. Naofumi, who is frustrated and furious, starts scouring the globe for resources and learns how to use them to enhance his shield. After repelling some robbery attempts, he learns that he lacks the power or expertise necessary to advance. Biolucas, a slave merchant, approaches Naofumi, who is then taken to a slave market, where a slave can earn experience points and fight for him. Naofumi discovers a demi-human slave girl whimpering in a cage in the room's corner. Biolucas offers Naofumi a powerful wolfman, but she chooses to purchase Raphtalia, a Tanuki girl who is considerably less expensive. They too slave crest on her in order to link Raphthalia's experiences with those of Naofumi and prohibit her from betraying or refusing to follow her without suffering severe agony. Because of the frequent dreams she has about her parents' death in the first wave, Raphtalia is at first reluctant to murder. Both go from the city to travel to the little hamlet of Lut in order to harvest rich ore, but while traveling there, they are ambushed by a high-level dog monster which injures Naofumi and shocks Raphtalia by being the same beast kind that killed her parents. Naofumi urges her to flee as he buys her time after observing her fear. Raphtalia confronts her remorse and sense of powerlessness and musters the strength to slay the monster. Raphtalia accepts Naofumi's assurances that he won't abandon her and is offered to work with him to stop the waves, so that other kids won't endure the same suffering she has. As a symbol of his desire to one day return home, Naofumi decorates a toothpick flag into the flag of Japan later that evening at supper. After a month of leveling up in preparation for the next wave, Raphtalia quickly develops into a young lady, while Naofumi unlocks a large range of shield changes, each with a special power. Naofumi and Raphtalia visit the capital's cathedral and its dragon hourglass, which counts the time between waves, to find out how much longer there is to the next one. They also run across the other 3 heroes, much to his dismay, who still look down on him and see him as a liability. He refuses to explain to Raphtalia why the other heroes hate Naofumi. The wave starts the next day. Naofumi and Raphtalia proceed to Lut to aid with the evacuation of the residents as the other heroes and their allies hurry to destroy the main force. When several knights show up to help, they first disobey Naofumi's commands, but after seeing that he's attempting to defend the villagers, some of them decide to work with him. The other heroes destroy the main boss and put an end to the wave after the others depart to join them. The people express gratitude to Naofumi for his assistance after the war. The following wave's countdown begins once the hourglass is refreshed. Despite her reluctance, Naofumi attends the state supper given to the heroes after they successfully fend off the wave of catastrophe. When Mine tells Motoseo that Raphtalia is a slave, he challenges Naofumi to a battle, so that she might win her freedom. King Alcatre Millermark takes Raphtalia despite Naofumi's refusal to accept the challenge, compelling a fight. Despite Motosu's greater level, Naofumi rapidly gains the upper hand because of his numerous shields and superior strategies. But Mine blatantly employs wind magic to trip Naofumi, allowing Motosu to triumph. Multi, Alcatre's daughter, is revealed to be Mine, and Naofumi discovers they had meant to defame him. The curse series is unlocked by Naofumi's internalized hate when Raphtalia's slave seal is broken. Raphtalia, on the other hand, slaps Motoseo, chastising him for his phony valor and asserting that if he genuinely wanted to free slaves, he would have had some front men in his company. Mine's intervention is also openly condemned by Red and Saki, who are furious that Alcatre would tolerate such obvious trickery. The curse series ends when Raphtalia rejoins Naofumi, having grown into a young adult and confirming her devotion to him. The following morning, Naofumi discovers he can taste food once more while eating a breakfast sandwich that Raphtalia cooked for him. Naofumi now has fresh faith in Raphtalia as his comrade, giving him renewed hope. Queen Maria Q, Millermark, learns about the duel at the castle while on diplomatic business in another country. Naofumi offers Biolucas a new slave sign as a seal of good faith, while Naofumi purchases a gacha monster egg that will eventually hatch into a Philofil. She quickly takes on Naofumi's name, Philo, and grows up thanks to one of his talents in just a few days. When Motosu and Mine announce that the hamlet is now under Motosu's dominion by royal order to Naofumi, she is surprised. The enormous taxes Mine intends to impose are blocked by Naofumi, who's aware of the town's financial constraints until Marilla's and envoys showed to deliver a message to Mine. She and Chusa challenge Naofumi to take control of the community after being disturbed by the contents. When Philo amusingly knocks Motosuo into the air, Naofumi joins in and rides her against Motosuo's dragon. Multi is made to compromise when Aurelia's envoys reveal the troops' use of magic to cheat in Motosuo's favor, but Naofumi still prevails. Naofumi and Raphtalia pause for a nap on the way back from loot, and the next day they are shocked to see Philo change into a little child with wings. Erhard receives Philo from Naofumi and sends him on to the dressmaker, who then sends him on to the magic shop owner to have Philo's magical clothing made. But in order to manufacture the magic thread for her loom, the owner of the magic shop needs a fresh magic gemstone. A bandit group attacks his wagon as he is escorting a wealthy trader who would aid his party. They are repulsed. When they boast that they will escape punishment as a result of Naofumi's slander, he coerces them into handing him all of their riches, or Philo will devour them. Naofumi has new knowledge and contacts after impressing the trader, and she even receives a permit to mine at a quarry at a reduced rate. The magic shop owner Naofumi's group discovers an abandoned alchemical tomb with a curse seed within, but the seed is missing. They are searching for the magic gemstone. They find a gem vein where Anu has built a nest after finding animals in the tunnels. The magic shop owner assists Philo in creating a magic thread after they slay the beast and get the gemstone. This allows the dressmaker to create Philo a dress that changes shape with her body. When the trader orders herbicide to be sent to a village, Naofumi and her group find the community overrun by a monster plant. They discovered that Murasui took the seed from the tomb to put a stop to a local famine, but the plant that emerged came to life and started assaulting the locals. They resort to Naofumi when Murasui leaves, who kills the monster plant and changes the seed to be secure. He sells the seed to the trader because the locals won't pay for them, and the trader hires him to bring goods to a hot spring town. Raphtalia, who is staying the night, is envious of Naofumi and Philo's time spent together, but discovers a precious gem a local bird gathers. Raphtalia sets out to collect the gem for Naofumi, but Philo follows along since he also needs the bird's eggs. As they travel, a silver boar attacks them, chasing them to the nest while trampling the eggs and gems down the cliff. Furious, they murder it and use the earnings from the sale of the body to purchase a unique tool that they then give to Naofumi to use in his gem making. When Naofumi's group goes to investigate a mystery sickness that is ravaging a community, they learn that the disease was caused by Ren killing a dragon nearby and leaving the body to rot instead of properly disposing of it. Monsters had congregated around its dead body and the environment was poisoned by its decay. Naofumi's group headed toward the body, which came back to life as a zombie dragon. The dragon eats Philo during a battle, supposedly killing her, which causes Naofumi to become angry and dejected, activating his curse Rage Shield. Naofumi loses his composure while successfully fending off the dragon's strikes with his powerful defense and passive flames. When Naofumi regains consciousness, he finds that Raphtalia was injured while attempting to awaken him. To their amazement, Philo emerges from the dragon's stomach after consuming the internal stone that gave it strength. Naofumi receives another crystal that Philo has discovered and uses it, but the shield it opens is inaccessible to him because of his level. Naofumi laments putting his friends in danger and vows to strengthen himself and his group after learning that Raphtalia's wounds from the cursed shield can only be treated with high-grade holy water when he returns to the town. When Naofumi and her group travel to the capital in search of holy water to heal Raphtalia, they stumble upon Melty, a girl with blue hair who is carrying several Phaedophos. Philo, who Melty instantly meets, requests to travel with them to the capital. When they arrive, Naofumi and Raphtalia head to the church, while Philo and Melty go their own ways. The clergy try to con Naofumi with their inferior holy water, but when the hero points out the problem, the Pope graciously offers Naofumi high-grade pure holy water. Naofumi is insulted in the town square after learning about Philo and demands that she be liberated from his servitude. He is not aware that Philo is Naofumi's folio. Mayan allows Murasui to assault her with uncontrolled abandon, but as Melty comes to tell them to stop, Philo changes and pushes Murasui away after recalling his comments. As a result, Melty meets Naofumi's group in Erhard's shop and informs that she is the second princess who is designated heir apparent by Muriela as a result of the poison's personality of her older sister, Melty. Naofumi interrupts her before she can finish by expressing his mistrust of the royal family. Melty, feeling defeated, leaves to talk to her father, while Naofumi is greeted by a small group of people who want to join him in the wave after he saved their village of Loot Village. Naofumi will only agree to in exchange for 150 silver coins as proof of allegiance. The Shield Heroes group is not permitted to use Melomark's Dragon Hourglass because of a royal decree, even if Raphtalia and Philo are prepared for class upgrades. Naofumi intends to travel to the nearby Shield Frieden for their Hourglass on the recommendation of Belliclas, but the wave will hit before they get there. While scoping out communities, Naofumi comes across malnourished refugees who fled a Nusuki-led revolution. When Naofumi returns for the subsequent wave, he runs into Red Nusuki, who accuse him of robbing them of their rewards. According to Naofumi, Ren leaving the dead dragon's carcass behind created a disease. Itsuki's revolution simply reserved to install a new government that was just as corrupt as the previous one. While Ren accepts him after seeing Raphtalia's injuries, Itsuki is sure that Naofumi is lying. Erhard later upgrades Naofumi's armor, and the loot party returns bearing 150 silver. As the next wave is just 24 hours away, Naofumi accepts them and makes them use the money to purchase stronger equipment. Armed with Raphtalia and Philo and the loot party under the leadership of Knight Ake, the wave begins with Ake's unit aiding citizens while Naofumi's party dispatches monsters. She shows herself to be a retired adventurer after witnessing an elderly woman who was cured by Naofumi when he was traveling and battling monsters with ease. After 3 hours, Naofumi becomes concerned about the advancement of the other heroes and departs Ake's group with the old woman to safeguard the populace. When Naofumi discovers the other heroes' groups carelessly assaulting a Dutchman, she reprimands them and makes Raphtalia reveal the hidden boss, a gigantic Soul Eater. Naofumi turns to his cursed shield, but the zombie dragon spirit that resides inside the shield is enraged, because Ren killed it and Naofumi used it as a part of his equipment. In response to the attempted takeover, Naofumi and Philo attack the Soul Eater in a rage. But Naofumi recalls his goal and regains control to deploy a new ability for the victory, Iron Maiden. Having defeated the Soul Eater, Naofumi returns to normal. But a new foe, Glass, a lady in a black kimono carrying twin-bladed war fans, comes and quickly dispatches the second Soul Eater. Glass is the real foe of this wave. Glass confronts Naofumi's team after handily defeating the previous 3 hero parties. They are unable to strike a single blow, not even with Raphtalia and Philo's assistance, against Naofumi's many shields. Glass tries long-range attacks while signaling for a tactile retreat, but retreats when the wave's time limit expires, leading to a standoff. When Naofumi is called back to the castle following the fight, he muses about the wave's temporal restrictions in their actual meeting. Ulcray wants him to divulge the source of his powers, but Naofumi makes her kneel and plead. Furious, Ulcray tries to blackmail Philo and Raphtalia, but Naofumi warns him that if he does, things will become worse. A lady subtly alerts Naofumi about the church's plot against him as he departs. Melty tries to get her father to make amends with Naofumi, but Multi makes things worse. Naofumi's group is equipped with provisions and travel equipment before they head to Shield Frieden for Raphtalia and Philo's class-ups. On the way, Melty meets them and urges Naofumi to make amends with Ulcray. Moments before one of Melty's bodyguards try to kill her, Naofumi notices something is up. However, she stands up for her. When the approaching knights see Naofumi defending Melty, they accuse him of holding her prisoner but are repulsed. The Church of the 3 Heroes, which despises the shield, is represented by the guard where Naofumi discovers the pendant. The wizards in the royal palace altered the video of Naofumi kidnapping Melty, turning him into a wanted person. Naofumi's team hikes across the mountains to go to neighboring Sviltveld with the intention of protecting Melty in order to remedy their predicament. The other 3 heroes and adjacent guards are informed of a loose rock at night. Melty commands them to disregard Melty as she tries to explain the problem, stating Naofumi has a brainwashing shield despite the absence of supporting proof. The heroes fall for this. Philo is stopped by Motosuo with a magical shackle while Naofumi tries to leave with Melty. Itsuki and Ren start to have doubts about Mine as she openly attacks without concern for Melty's safety after Naofumi resorts to using his rage shield to flee. Ren receives the church pendant from Naofumi, who then requests an inquiry before leaving. One of Muriel's emissaries aids in freeing Philo from his restraint and communicates Muriel's wish to see Naofumi. The messenger is identified by Naofumi as the same woman who forewarned him about the church. However, Naofumi chooses to continue traveling in the direction of Sviltveld because encountering Muriela will send them the either way. Mine starts a forest fire in the meantime to drive Naofumi away. In order to get away from Mine's knights, Naofumi's group is required to dodge the forest fire. By royal edict, the border to Sviltveld is closed the next morning, forcing Naofumi to meet Muriela. They encounter nobleman Van Rednash, the area's ruler and a friend of Melty as they journey. When they arrive at Reichnat's estate, he learns of the predicament and extends an invitation for them to spend the night. When daylight arrives, the maids conceal Naofumi and Raphtalia in the pantry while Melty diverts the knight's attention. Reichnat is then taken into custody. They come and their commander, nobleman Idle Raber, leads Melty to his manor. When Naofumi notices Raphtalia's worry over Rabier, she sues him to allow Melty's plan to succeed. After Rapier departs, Naofumi and Philo travel to Rapier's mansion where they meet up with Rapier. Naofumi uses this to sneak into the castle where Reichsnot is being tortured in front of Melty for Rapier's enjoyment, while Reichsnot's devoted demi-humans besiege the gates demanding his freedom. To save Melty and Reichsnot, Naofumi succeeds in getting into the manor. Rapier is confronted by Raphtalia and cries out for forgiveness. In a flashback, Melromark's soldiers enslave the residents of Raphtalia's hometown after the first wave decimates it. She is sold to idle Rapier along with her best companion, Rifna. In the end, Rifna's condition causes her to pass away, and Rapier sells her to Buklas, introducing Raphtalia to Naofumi. Raphtalia is about to attack in the present until Naofumi points out how much she has changed. She saves Rapier after realizing that murdering him would not offer any peace. When Rapier is insulted, he struggles to kill her, but she wounds him with her mana sword, causing him to tumble back out of a window. In order to raid Reichsnot, Raphtalia directs the group to Bespin Jail, where they come across demi-human survivors, including her former companion Keel. After discovering Rifna's bones in the cage left to rot, Raphtalia sobs, thinking she'd abandoned her. To cheer up, Naofumi says that it was because of her and how she'd rescued him from the shadows that he had finally begun to trust her once more. Raphtalia assures Rifna that she will return home someday to restore her and give her a proper burial. A Tyrannosaurus-like dragon creature that had been imprisoned in the courtyard is released by a still-living Rapier, who is then killed by it as it moves towards Naofumi. A girl with white wings is talking to Ophelia about a potential queen candidate and asking her to visit somewhere in the forest. Naofumi commands Raphtalia, Philo, Melty, and Vine-Rishnot to flee as the recently liberated tyrant Dragon Rex rampages across idle Rapier's mansion. Melty is horrified by Rapier's ability to shatter the monster's seals, while Naofumi is perplexed by the monster's ability to follow them, despite their best efforts to avoid them. When Philo charges into battle, the beast is unaffected by her attacks. Melty observes a pink glow in Philo's tummy as well as the dragons, and Naofumi concludes the monster is just for Philo, because of the inherent animosity between dragons and Philolas, allowing her to entice him out of the city. The Tanuki girl offers Keel her status-enhancing bracelet before leaving with Naofumi as Reichsnot and the other demi-humans flee as Keel orders them to join the Shield Hero in battle. The tyrant is successfully lured out of the town by Naofumi's group, but not without doing significant damage to it. The gang tries to battle the dragon once more, but their efforts are entirely ineffectual due to its formidable scales. When Naofumi decides to use the Rash Shield, a voice abruptly warns him not to. A massive flock of Philos appears and forms a circle on the dragon. Naofumi tries to summon the Rash Shield once more, but this time the voice violently interferes with its metamorphosis, in addition to warning him not to use it. A 500 times larger than Philo, the gigantic Philo Queen rises from the lake. She informs the tyrant that the dragon's Emperor Core Shard caused its body to outgrow control, and that if it surrenders the core, its life will be spared. The Philo Queen kills tyrants quickly and easily while capturing the core. She then turns to Naofumi and wants to speak with him, but before doing so, she changes into human form, revealing herself to be the earlier mentioned girl with white wings, and announces herself as Victoria, the world's foremost filial. Melty claims that a legendary hero from earlier times reared her. Victoria tells Philo that it will take a long time to develop into a new Philo queen like her as the gang presents themselves. Melty claims that while on a diplomatic mission, she got to meet Victoria. To Victoria's dismay, Naofumi first offers a piece of the killed dragon to his shield before she can take them somewhere to discuss. They are brought to the remnants of a Philo refuge that the previous heroes guarded. They prepare and consume the tyrant's flesh for supper, but Naofumi soon finds herself having to prepare a lot more food for the flock of peckish Philos. Following dinner, Victoria and Naofumi discuss the possibility of Philo being the next Philo queen. Victoria notes that because she was raised by a hero, Philo develops differently from the rest and expresses her dislike for the hero's tendency to battle one another rather than work together. She also mentions the fact that the waves also happen outside Melromark. Each hero is, or should be called to battle, the waves on behalf of a different nation. Victoria hates people, yet she fights for them because of the former hero who raised her requested her to. Because she can't do everything on her own, she requires the heroes to work together. With their respective parties, Renamaki and Itsuki Kasumi sneak into the Church of the Three Heroes underground library with the intention of discovering everything that the church hides from the public. Back at Melromark, now fully convinced that Naofumi was correct the entire time. They are unaware that Princess Melty is hiding there, dissatisfied with their investigation. Victoria continually urges Naofumi to mend fences with the other heroes since doing so is essential to getting rid of the waves from the planet. But Naofumi continues to say no, because doing so is difficult given the enmity he faces from them and the whole Malamar Kingdom. Then Victoria declares that she must kill the present heroes in order to call new ones for the benefit of the world. The following morning, Victoria kidnaps Melty to force Naofumi to reconcile with the heroes. She battles Philo while both are in human form to put his beliefs to the test. While outmatched, Philo is able to penetrate Victoria's magic defense. Victoria names Philo as her successor after being fully satisfied, which raises her base stats. For Naofumi, Victoria forcibly unlocks numerous Philo shields that he can't yet use. She encourages Naofumi to try to work with the other heroes after everyone has gone to bed, cautioning him that preserving the globe is quite different from saving the people, and the heroes will ultimately have to make that decision. Victoria also warns the heroes to band together or she will carry out her threat to murder them, as they are still too weak to effectively combat the waves. She makes Naofumi's armor magical so that it will be more resilient to the effects of the Rage Shield. Naofumi concludes that a former shield hero reared Victoria based on her actions and behavior, but Victoria is too old to recall after having lived for so long. The parties led by Ren and Tsuki in the Malamar discover a secret tunnel, but an onslaught from above causes the cave to collapse. To begin making amends with them, Victoria leads Naofumi and his group to a location close to one of the heroes. But Morosayu won't listen, blaming Naofumi for Ren and Utsuki's deaths. As their argument intensifies, Naofumi and Morosayu groups engage in a full battle, with Naofumi's side ultimately triumphing despite the significant level differences. When a huge ray of light threatens them from above, Philo persuades Naofumi to use several shields to protect themselves before the threat arrives and destroys everything in its path. The attack was launched by Pope Balmus and his adherents, revealing that he had ordered the murder of Ren and Tsuki as part of his plot to assassinate the princesses and the false heroes in order to destroy the monarchy. Then, Pope Balmus prepares to assault both parties by drawing a supernatural sword. Melty notices that Pope Balmus is using an allegedly lost ancient weapon that is a copy of all four cardinal weapons. The weapon's defenses are too strong for Naofumi and Morosayu to overcome, because it is powered by hundreds of Balmus' supporters. Just thereafter, Ren and Itsuki get up to offer assistance and say they were saved by Morella's elite Shadows warriors. While the heroes band together to attack the Pope, Naofumi declines on the grounds that they caused harm, outlining their effects, their lack of coordination, and the steps he had to take to fix them. Naofumi reveals that because they didn't know how to act like heroes and properly tidy up, the church thought they were fakes and plotted revolution. Naofumi compares the other heroes to the Pope, but he only chooses to collaborate with them because he owes Victoria that. Pope Balmus reacts by surrounding the battlefield with a magical cathedral, as the four cardinal heroes unite in defense. The four heroes are unable to overcome Balmus' cathedral spell, and Naofumi discovers that the cathedral significantly reduces the curse effects of his Rage Shield. By draining more mana from his troops to fuel a more powerful strike, Pope Balmus puts their lives in peril. Naofumi risks losing the Dragon Soul he's been holding in his Rage Shield in order to block it. Raphtalia, Philo, and Melty manage to pull him out of it while donning new Berserker armor and battling to maintain control despite being scorched by the cursed flames. But Balmus though employs a sophisticated counter ability and comes close to winning, before Queen Merlia's army joins them. She formally reveals herself to the heroes and pledges to preserve the dying Naofumi's life, while Merlia's army arrests the Pope's adherents. After Naofumi has spent 3 days recuperating, Queen Merlia apologizes to him for all the problems the Church of the Three Heroes, Mayan and Ulcray have caused him. She says she was unable to attend because of the chaos that their summoning all four heroes caused, because they had originally intended to have a hero summoned by a different country to battle the waves all over the world. The following day, she overthrows Ulcray and tattoos Mine with a slave sigil, compelling her to admit all of her wrongdoings. Mine and Ulcray's royal privileges are taken away by Muriela for their crimes, and she also sentences them to death. However, just as they are about to be put to death, Naofumi interrupts the execution and suggests that both Mine and Ulcray should be spared by having their names finally changed to bad words, and mandating that all citizens not address them otherwise. Naofumi realizes that Mine is actually pleading for her life. The ancient religion which revered all four heroes will then be restored, the queen says, and the Church of the Three Heroes will be destroyed. Melty then bid Naofumi's group goodbye before deciding to stay in the castle and serve as a princess while they battle the waves. After they go, Mirelia tells Melty that if Naofumi hadn't stepped in on his own, she would have offered herself as a sacrifice to assuage public sentiment and halt the execution. The Melromark residents bid the Shield Party farewell as they leave the city, and Naofumi formally accepts his position as the Shield Hero. To get their class-up improvements, Naofumi's group travels to the Dragon Hourglass, but the ceremony is unsuccessful. Mirelia surmises that Victoria's protection is interfering in some way and exposing her as a fellow otaku. The four heroes meet in secret during a feast as Raphtalia fights Maud, a drunken member of the Bow Party, for insulting Naofumi, sparking a fight between the hero groups. In the course of the discussion, Mirelia alerts the heroes to the approaching special Calmere Arpeggio event, where everyone will receive bonus experience points, enabling them to level up ahead of the next wave. The heroes explain the secret capabilities of their weapons, such as unique weapon copy system, in order to aid one another. The following day, Naofumi duplicates every shield that Erhard used before going to Raphtalia's deserted town to honor Rafana's tomb. Naofumi boards the vessel bound for Calmere the following morning. L'Arc, Berg, and Therese Alexandrite must share a room with Naofumi's group of passengers, because the other heroes grab the majority of the ship's accommodations. After hearing about the evil shield hero, L'Arc and Therese assume Naofumi's name is an alias when they introduce themselves. As the other hero parties recuperate from seasickness, Governor Habenberg takes Naofumi's group to the resort inn once the heroes reach Calmere. Naofumi takes his group on an XP grind around the archipelago while learning a new boosting spell and crafting fresh weapons from monsters for Raphtalia and Philo. A worried L'Arc and Therese locate Naofumi's gathering at night and bring the guests to a celebration at a restaurant to cap the day. Therese asks Naofumi for an accessory, and to her delight, he creates a stunning piece using a priceless jewel. The next day, while working together with L'Arc and Therese to gain experience, Naofumi discovers that Therese's magic flames may truly heal him when he's enveloped. By dusk, the two say goodbye, thanking Naofumi for the day, and express their desire to reconnect soon. While Naofumi's party is unwinding at the beach, Philo finds an underwater temple, which piques Naofumi's interest in going exploring. When he arrives, Naofumi's shield unlocks the door, revealing a dragon hourglass. By connecting to it, he discovers the next wave is scheduled to arrive in Calmere in 48 hours. The next catastrophe wave will strike in 2 days according to the underwater dragon hourglass in the Calmere Arpeggio. So Naofumi, Raphtalia, and Philo immediately teleported back to Mellomarket to warn Queen Mirelia and Princess Melty. The next wave will undoubtedly take place at sea. Therefore, Melty and Mirelia have both boarded battleships and are en route to battle with their legions of knights, while the other three heroes are on their way with their respective parties. To Philo's delight, Melty joined the gang since he enjoys being a part of Naofumi's crew. The citizens of Calmere had already been safely evacuated. Queen Mirelia continued. The other heroes continue to resist working as a team despite this immediate threat, because they think that leveling up on their own will suffice. Raphtalia notices that L'Arc and Therese, whom Naofumi believes to be much more capable and dependable than the other heroes, are also showing up to battle, but the redhead oddly overlooks Naofumi. Everyone is teleported to the wave as it hits. The interdimensional whale, a massive narwhal-like monster, makes an appearance as the boss monster. Ren claims that luring it out of the water is the only way to successfully fight it. In response to Mirelia's request, Naofumi and Philo jump into the water to attract the monster. One of the ships is destroyed when the creature attacks with a strong laser from the crystal on its forehead. Raphtalia launches a magic harpoon through the monster, using a harpoon launcher from another ship. When the smaller fish-like monsters begin to attack the ships, Melty's white aqua shot dispatches them in a flash. L'Arc intervenes just in time to save Melty when one of the monsters sneakily kidnaps her and attempts to pull her into the water. The ship's crew and knights keep tossing arrows and alcohol-filled fruit barrels into the water. L'Arc is invited by the shield hero to defeat the monster, and he's instructed to entice it back into the air. Naofumi and Philo lure the narwhal out of the water. The other heroes arrive to steal the loot from the dead monster, which annoyed Naofumi, because they had done nothing worthwhile. However, L'Arc mocked the three heroes and called them weaklings as he swiftly drove them away. L'Arc says that in order to protect his own world, he needs to murder the shield hero. One day, L'Arc and Therese admit that they are heroes from a different world, one that was also in danger of being destroyed by the waves even though they have nothing personal against Naofumi. They are deemed the enemy, and Muriel and Melty command the knights to support the heroes in their fight against him. The two intrepid travelers defeat the knights and even the heroes. As the group of the heroes is returning to the heroes who had fallen into the ocean, Queen Melia gives the order to rescue the knights and crew. While blocking L'Arc's scythe, Naofumi feels pain in his right arm. Therese agrees to trade bracelets, and L'Arc explains that his physical attack is ideal to utilize against the shield hero, because it does damage in direct proportion to the target's defense. Since they first met, L'Arc has been annoying Naofumi by constantly throwing him off his phase. Melty shows up to assist. He shows his two best weapons, the second shield and airstrike shield, which will negate L'Arc's strikes. As a result, they both laid all their cards on the table. L'Arc and Therese's strengths are complemented by those of the party, and Naofumi begins to acknowledge them as genuine heroes from their own realm. A massive attack was launched against one of the remaining ships at the same instant that a female voice was heard. Standing next to L'Arc and Therese is an old enemy that Naofumi is familiar with, Glass. She starts two rondos that Naofumi can hardly stop: Zero Stance Rondo, Reverse Sword Seasons, and Rupture Stance Rondo, Tortoiseshell Cracker. Glass explains that despite not revealing her full potential, Naofumi was able to engage L'Arc in a head-to-head battle and seriously injure her. The raven-haired woman offers to kill him directly, and the shield hero prepares to confront her once more. In a one-on-one battle with Glass, Naofumi reveals that she is the fan hero, a hero from L'Arc's homeworld. When Naofumi notices that Glass is vulnerable to his Soul Eater shell, he hesitates before killing her, because he understands that she is attempting to defend her own world. Raphtalia steps in at that point to remind Naofumi that there are lots of people in the world who need his protection. Licia, Ivyred, a newcomer to the bow party, is located by Marilla, who instructs her to launch wine barrels at Glass. The strong alcohol quickly makes Glass drunk, so L'Arc and Therese are forced to assist her in leaving as the wave's time limit approaches. Naofumi considers Vittoria's remarks as she makes her way back to Kalmyra and learns that other worlds are battling the waves. Licia, who attempted suicide by drowning after being expelled from Misuki's party owing to a false accusation against her, is also enlisted into his group. Naofumi accepts Muriel as a reward after returning to the mainland, the lordship of Sevite, together with the help of those she can trust to reconstruct the island. Raphtalia says she thinks that this is insurance in case he passes away or returns home, but Naofumi says it's his new beginning with them. The other heroes make a commitment to grow stronger than Naofumi as they watch Raphtalia and Naofumi manage the reconstruction of their town. In the meantime, Bellakas has a covert new patron.
How was the video? We hope it was good. If so, please check these videos. Also, please comment down your thoughts and your suggestions for future videos. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing now to show the support to our channel. We hope to see you soon with another video right in this channel. Have a nice day.